Hello and welcome to episode 8 of series 2 in the Relaxing Piano Playlist with your host James Quinn here at the piano. Thank you very much for joining me. In this episode you're going to hear 6 pieces covering a wide range of composers and styles. In this episode you're going to hear music from the classical, the romantic and the 20th century period and a contemporary piece that I'll explain later. The first piece that you're going to hear comes from the classical composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. In this particular instance, I'm going to play you a movement from one of his piano sonatas. Specifically, you'll hear this movement 2, set to the speed of Andante, from his piano sonata number 16, which he very famously gave us a little bit of this in case you're unfamiliar. And I think we know which sonata we're talking about. The second movement, as I mentioned, is a very long movement, but I've condensed it a little bit to make sure you don't get too many of the repeats. But nonetheless, it is a beautiful movement and I hope you enjoy hearing this. He originally published this sonata as Köchel number 545. We then go into the Romantic period for our next set of pieces. The first of these comes from the offering of the composer Felix Mendelssohn. And in particular, you're going to hear an extract from one of his songs without words, of which he wrote quite a lot here. But in this case, I'm going to play for you number 5 in the key of B minor, which he published as Opus number 67. We then come to the next piece in the offering of Johannes Brahms. And in this particular instance, you're going to hear Waltz number 15 in A, of which he wrote 16 in total, which he originally published as Opus 35. And I'll be playing this from memory. We then conclude this section with a short movement from the composer Edward MacDowell, and I'm going to play for you a work that comes originally from one of his own piano miniatures known as the C pieces, which he published as Opus number 55. The whole work consists of 8 movements, and I'm going to play for you movement number 6, and this is otherwise known as Nautilus. In his own piano scores, he actually puts short epitaphs of a few sentences, which literally gives us the full meaning or the intended atmosphere the piece conveys. In this one, he simply puts a fairy sail and a ferry boat. We then come to our penultimate piece in the form of the French composer Claude Debussy, and I'm going to play for you the first of his 2 arabesques. We then come to our last piece in this episode and requires a little bit of explanation. First of all, the original composer for this piece of the new edition of a female composer by the name of Amy-Woodforde-Finden. She wrote a lot of songs and other music as well, but in particular, the period in which she wrote these songs were known as Edwardian songs here in the UK. These haven't been arranged before for solo piano, but one such pianist has done just that. He goes by the name of the highly distinguished and very highly acclaimed concert pianist today by the name of Sir Stephen Hough. And he's taken the time to make her songs into solo piano transcriptions. Without teasing you any longer, the song I'm going to play for you is known as the Kashmiri Song, which comes from the 4 Indian love lyrics originally composed by Amy-Woodforde-Finden. I'd like to take this opportunity once more to let everybody know that I'm deeply grateful for Sir Stephen's permission for me to record and perform his own transcriptions for you to hear. To get the blessing from such a prominent concert pianist and artist for that matter is almost a very high honour indeed. So thank you very much to Sir Stephen for allowing me to do this. So to recap, here's the order just once more. The second movement from Piano Sonata number 16, from Piano Sonata number 16, Köchel 545 by Mozart. Songs Without Words number 5 from Opus 67 by Mendelssohn. Waltz number 15 in A by Johannes Brahms from Opus 39. Nautilus from the C pieces, Opus 55 by MacDowell. Arabesque number 1 in E by Claude Debussy. And finally, the Kashmiri Song by Amy-Woodforde-Finden and transcribed for the solo piano by Sir Stephen Hough. So sit back, relax, and I hope you all enjoy the music in this episode. Thank you.